Hello, my name is Jacob Toddson, and welcome to summer, and something a little new I'm trying. Definitely not groundbreaking, but what I want to do is combine a few things I love with something I really detest. The things I love: nature, making videos, and talking about ancient religions, cultures, spiritualities, and everything in between. And the thing I kind of detest this time of year is the sun. Now, I love the sun in many ways. It provides us life and warmth. But what I don't like is that in about 4 hours, that flaming ball of fire will create 90-degree heat all around me. So typically, summer is the time I'm the least outside, especially now that I'm back in the United States. And so I really want to wake up a little bit earlier, take these morning strolls, take you along with me, and answer your questions about paganism, spirituality, healing, and basically anything you want to ask me. And so if you are interested in having one of your questions answered by me on this channel on one of my morning walks, please comment down below. And before I make one of these videos, I'll go to the comment section of any of my videos, really, and see if there's any questions I can answer for you, the viewer. So in this video, we have a couple of questions to answer. One that's kind of hard to answer, but I'm going to do my best, and then some more lighter questions as well. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy this video, this conversation, and this morning stroll through the forest. Now, I imagine this kind of video is more for the lifetime viewer, people that have been watching my channel for a while, but let's say you are new here and you have no idea who I am. Well, my name is Jacob, as I said, and for the last few years, I've been making videos here on YouTube, sharing my own personal exploration into spirituality and belief. I started this channel with Norse Paganism, and then I expanded it more into understanding my ancestry, going to the Celtic worlds in Scotland, and I have been participating in many different healing ceremonies and minor following of the path of the shaman for a while now. If you have any questions about Norse paganism, you know, I'm quite the encyclopedia on those things just from my research over the years, but also Celtic paganism, shamanism, spirituality. I can all dabble in answering some questions, but then I also just love having deep talks about life. Question number 1. Can you explain how the exploration of your spiritual life affects your perception of the world we live in? As for instance, are you more or less cynical about the unfolding world events, or have you found a quality that allows you to keep hope or optimism for the world and your fellow man? I do believe that spirituality, paganism, my path, has allowed me to look at the world in a much less cynical way. Even though I don't talk about it, I've built this channel on not talking about what's going on in the modern global world, about not talking about political divides, the things that keep us apart, and instead I've always kept this channel focused, talking about paganism, about belief and spirituality. And so it is rare for me to dip my toes into this conversation, but they're kind of coinciding. And obviously I do live in this world. Even though I don't talk about it in a public way, I do experience it. When you're having a conversation with someone, like if we were talking right now, we would be able to pass words back and forth, but I'm simply just talking to a camera. So I don't want to come off as preachy. And understand that I don't have 100% the right answer. But as far as to kind of stick into the spirituality lane, how has spirituality helped me look at these events? And for me, it's about surrendering control of what we have little effect on. In our world now, where we have smartphones, we have the internet, we have social media, we're so very aware of everything that's going on all the time. And we as humans are not meant to feel that way. We're not meant or designed, or we haven't evolved to know what's happening all over the world. We're not meant to know about every single death. People die every single second of every single day. And we as humans are not meant to carry that burden. And so I think spirituality and paganism is about recognizing what actual impact we can have on the world that we live in. It's a very stoic thing, isn't it? Learning to let go of the things we have no control of, and learning to focus on instead the things that we actually do have control of and it can actually make a difference of. So yeah, that's a big part of spiritual healing. And I think the gods, when it comes to paganism, they've really helped me when it comes to personal healing, is coming out into nature, feeling the gods of the woods, feeling the god of the sun, of the earth. It really helps ground me in a world that really doesn't want us to be grounded anymore. These are not grounding devices as much as they can make our brains shut off. These are, I don't know, these are like the void. This is a void device. And nature, the gods, the natural powers, these are grounding devices. And the spiritual healing, I think, is the way to find the true self and discover how to share your true self with the world in an impactful way. Yeah, for me, I definitely feel I'm less cynical. I definitely felt myself getting cynical, definitely during COVID times, naturally. I don't know, I do have hope. I do believe in humanity because I've seen the beauty of humanity. I've seen the love. I've seen the everyday people from all around the world, from every walk of life, come together in beautiful moments, namely around spiritual healing and belief. Yeah, the world is definitely confusing and I don't have all the answers, but I definitely, for me, following the ancient traditions, following the rites of passage, connecting to your ancestors, to the ways of old, and the wisdom of the past, these things have helped me feel less cynical in this world and feel like I can actually make a difference in a real way. And that's all I could hope for anyone else, is people healing and people finding their purpose in life, living their purpose. And if we have a world of people living their true purpose, their soul's purpose, that's how we change the world. And so yeah, that's why I have these conversations and talk about what I like to talk about. So yes, I do have hope. Oh, hello there. If you've enjoyed this conversation and walk through the woods so far, please think about liking the video. And if you do want to have your question answered in the next video, put it down below in the comments. One thing I kind of wanted to share here in the middle of this video is something I'm starting. Like obviously if you want to support me, you can support me on Patreon and you can support me through purchasing my book. But something else I'm kind of starting to explore now is my next career option as far as where this channel is going and my own personal practice. And so I'm actually really getting into hand-poked tattoos. And so I'm starting to share a little bit more of my designs, and I am starting to do some tattoos for other people. And so yeah, if you're interested in that, I do have my Instagram where I'm starting to post pictures. And so yeah, just follow me at the Wisdom of Odin on Instagram. And then as the time comes where I hopefully am in a shop and have the experience necessary, I'll let everyone know. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that little update for you. But with that, let us continue our walk through the woods and finish answering your questions that you have for me. What are the biggest differences in your beliefs from the start of your journey to the present? Were they welcome changes in your belief, or did you struggle with them? So this question is interesting because I am making a full-fledged video on it here soon, and so that video is going to be titled something like The Evolution of My Pagan Practice. So subscribe for that video coming up. But to kind of answer one of those parts now is, has it been difficult to kind of go with those changes? And just like my answer to the main question here, for me, the beauty of paganism is that it kind of enters you into this kind of flow state. Oh, that's a big spider. That you can kind of just go with the ebbs and flows of life. Now we're on a safari. And so yeah, I had a much more, let's say, aggressive practice when I first started, screaming Odin's name and pouring meat around a fire.
Hail Odin, the All-Father! He exists and he is real!
And yeah, that's definitely not as much as part of my practice anymore. But my practice is much more subtler and simple and makes me feel more connected in the everyday. And I don't need to shout Odin's name at the top of my lungs to get kind of a response out of my own connection to the gods. So yeah, for me, it's been a very natural process. And as far as advice for anyone else on that, yeah, definitely don't try to force anything. Let things be natural. Follow your intuition. Always seek knowledge. For me, following the path of Odin and the seeking of knowledge and wisdom in an Odinic way has been a very pure way to connect to spirituality. Yeah, I think for me, I look back and I'm quite happy with where I am, and I wouldn't change anything really as far as like my practice in the past. Yeah, just explore, follow your intuition, follow that gut feeling. Enjoy yourself. I feel like a lot of paganism and spiritual healing is about connecting to the natural world, connecting to yourself, healing, connecting to your ancestors. All these things should be good. They might be hard at times, but ultimately the result should be a feeling of joy and connection with the world around you and yourself. And so, yeah, just enjoy the ride. Don't take it too seriously. I'm definitely someone that probably took it too seriously for a while, and I've met many people who have taken paganism and spirituality far too seriously, and people need to lighten up. See, in videos, it's so hard to kind of show you how big a tree is. I'm sure anyone that's tried to video a tree before knows, but I'm going to try and show you this one. This is really cool. Look at this bad boy. I really like how, well, that's so bizarre. I'll have to show this to you in a second. But these trees growing together right here, and then just how big this one is. Just really cool. I live in the city now. Never thought I would be, but I'm always more appreciative when I come to trees like this and just see how big they are. Absolutely wonderful. This is what I was talking about. I looked in this tree, and there's just this little cow thing. It's tucked in here. Oh, you never know what you're gonna find. Also, but I hate this. Someone graffitied this tree at one point. I hate you. Jacob, how do you as a European pagan regard your relationship with Hinduism? Many Reconstructionist pagans look to the Vedic traditions for inspiration. Do you do also? Thank you. Yeah, I really can't go into too depth of an answer of this one, just simply because I don't know that much about Hinduism, to be honest with you. I would say for my own personal exploration of life is I have met a lot of pagans who have explored Hinduism more in depth. And I do think it's because there's a lot more surviving traditions than people realize. Me as a Westerner, I don't think about India that much as far as spirituality, even though, obviously I know about yoga and Hinduism being a polytheistic religion, one of the few that still survive today. And I mean, it's one of the biggest in the world. And so obviously, a lot of the traditions that survive there are something that could be applied here in the West as far as like modern spirituality and paganism. The thing that's always held me back from Hinduism is, I think, the cultural and language differences. So like the language in particular is just very difficult to learn. It feels very alien to me, to my Anglo-English Germanic language that I speak. But also culturally, India is a very starkly different culture than the European American culture that I'm used to. And that's not saying it's bad, it's just so different that it's not something I feel connected to. Having said that, I also recognize that Hinduism is a lot of the root of like Indo-European identity, is that everything's kind of connected at one point. And so you can definitely see commonalities between the Hindu mythology and the mythology of the Norse world or the Greek world or the Roman. And so, yeah, I recognize that everything is connected. But as far as Hinduism in itself, yeah, there's just so much of a cultural difference for me that I just don't feel that drawn to it. And that's something that really started my path. Is I was into Buddhism for a couple of years before I got into paganism. And one of the biggest holdbacks for Buddhism, even though that I really love a lot of the teachings of Buddhism that I think everyone should be able to learn from. But when it actually comes to being a Buddhist as an American, there's just a cultural and language difference that I feel kind of held me back a little bit. And then there was also a quote from the Dalai Lama's book, I think it was called Beyond Religion, that was talking about how people should find their cultural connection to spirituality, that you need to find how you flavor your tea. And he's like, culturally, I'm Tibetan, and so therefore I flavor my tea with Tibetan tea. I've said this many times. And so a lot of this channel has been finding out what flavor of spiritual tea I like. This is bad to say, but I think it's funny. I like chai tea. I like chai tea. I like Hinduism, but it's not my favorite flavor. It's not my preferred flavor. I much more prefer my really rugged drinks of the northern world. It's something that calls to my personal ancestry and connection more. But obviously I believe that anyone can follow any religion in the world for the most part, but you have to find what flavor works for you. I think the world would be a happier place if more people found faith in spirituality, in whatever form that would be for them. What do we need to do to help more people find it? This is a really interesting question, actually. And it's something I ponder a lot, because when I meet someone in my travels that clearly needs some form of spiritual healing, they need to, heal their connection to their mother or their father or their ancestors, or they have a deep wound that needs patching up. And this is all stuff that the language and conversation that I know, because I've been living this amazing life that I've been able to talk about such things and sit in circles with such things. But not everyone has access to those kinds of conversations and that language of talking about their life. In particular, when it comes to underprivileged people, people who grew up poor, people that have had to work their entire life or had the hardship that led to these traumas. A lot of the times they've just had to push through, and so they don't know how to talk about it. They don't know how to seek healing, and so they typically cover it up, self-medicate with alcohol or addictions and things like that. So oftentimes, not all the time, but people with addictions, they're covering up for something that's not been healed either through therapy or spiritual healing. It's the old parables. You can't lead a horse to water or make it drink. Giving a man a fish feeds him for a day, kind of stuff. And so what I find is often helpful, let's take the horse to water thing, is a lot of people don't even know the water's there. They're over here like dying of thirst and they're just complaining about it all the time. They're like, I'm so thirsty. And they don't know the language or that the water even exists. And so a lot of times what I find is even just talking about my own personal spiritual journey and healing journey in a very casual way can really kind of shake people up a little bit. Right now I'm working in a bar. Like I just serve drinks at the moment as a kind of a side job. And what I find is as people come in, they kind of recognize my tattoos or something, but 9 times out of 10, I end up in a really deep talk with someone just serving them drinks. And that's because it's who I am. I mean, I live a life of depth. I live a life not just talking about the weather or the small talk. And so, yeah, I would say just kind of like skirt past the small talk with people. This is what works for me, is I really seek depth out of my conversations, not just in my friends or with my YouTube followers, but with the everyday people. I'm not going up to people like, tell me about your traumas. But I'm at the very least getting to those kind of conversations quicker. I'm not trying to avoid them in everyday conversations. Definitely think about language. Something I've talked about in this video a little bit now is understanding that people's language means a lot. And I'm not just talking about English, but I'm just talking about the vocabulary in which it means to talk about healing. And this is something that it's a very nuanced conversation. It took me a long time to learn. But in particular, when it comes to terms such as paganism, which I'm less likely to use in everyday situations now, not because I don't identify as a pagan, but because people have preconceived notions of what pagan means. And so I find it's healthier to use language that they have much more of a positive association with when talking about things such as spirituality and belief. And so even with certain Christian people, if I'm talking to them, I will use their own Christian language to discuss spiritual healing, because understanding that the moment I bring up pagan or heathen, they're going to have a negative reaction to me. And so if I use their own language talking about God or Jesus or what would Jesus do, what would Jesus want, using their own language to describe the same things, because that is ultimately my thesis and belief when it comes to religion today, as I think we're all using different language and cultural mechanisms in order to talk about very similar things. And so what I've decided, instead of saying that my cultural mechanism and language about talking about religion is the only way, I discuss it in an open way. And that has really opened up a lot of amazing conversations and has opened up a lot of different healing conversations by discussing things that way. Seek those deeper conversations in life. Don't be afraid to talk about it and recognize our own impact and ability to change the world. And I think as we kind of surrender ourselves to the reality that we can't change the world so drastically, but we can change the world so amazingly when we focus more on what's in front of us rather than what's in the ethereal internet world and the things that are thousands of miles away from us. So yeah, that concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to ask your questions down below if you're interested in having them answered in the next video. Thank you so very much, and I will see you in the next video here at the Wisdom of Odin.